fickle heart. Where would I be if it weren't for your grace, your strength? Faithful is your mighty hand, drawing me close with your tender kindness, your mercy that saves.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the start of another reading vlog. So I hope you enjoyed the intro to this vlog. I went up to Lancashire over the weekend to see my friend Jess, and we went to the beach on Saturday, so I thought I would film a little bit while I was there. I obviously didn't talk to the camera, but I thought it might be nice to start the vlog with some footage from the weekend, because I think it's nice sometimes to show that I do occasionally do stuff that isn't reading. But yeah, I'm really tired today. It's currently Monday, but because I did a lot of driving over the weekend, I think I'm in the mood just to have a chilled week and mood read for a week, which I don't do a lot anymore ever since I started BookTube, because I usually have a TBR of books that I want to read. But I thought this week I would just relax and read some romance, because I feel like it's been a long time since I read a really good romance book. I feel like I've read some good romances this year, but it's been a while since I've had a 5-star romance. So I thought I would set myself a sort of challenge this week to see how many romance books I can read, first of all, in a week, and also see if I can find a 5-star contemporary, because I think that, yeah, it's been a really long time since I've had a 5-star contemporary romance, since I've read a 5-star contemporary romance. Am I making any sense in this intro? I'm not sure, but I think that the first book that I'm going to pick up is going to be The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, which I think is a workplace romance. I'm pretty sure that this is quite popular. A lot of people have recommended this to me because it's hate to love or enemies to lovers. It's been a while since I read the synopsis for this, but I'm excited to start it. I feel like I'm rambling, but yeah, I'm not sure what else I want to read this week. I'm going to have a look on Scribd and see if there are any romance audiobooks that I'm interested in. I think actually, so earlier this year, I read or listened to Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellfleur, and I'm pretty sure that the second book is also available on Scribd as an audiobook, so I might listen to that. I think that this is one of those series where you can read the books out of order if you want to, because they're all companion novels. So yeah, I might start that today on my lunch break when I go for my walk, and then otherwise I'm going to be mood reading for the week. I feel like this is not the best angle, and also there are fireworks going on outside, so apologies if you can hear those in the background, but I wanted to do a quick update because I'm now about 20% of the way through The Hating Game, and I'm enjoying this so far, but it's tentatively, I think, is the word that I want to use, because I am enjoying the writing, I like the humour, and there's been a few moments that have genuinely made me laugh out loud, but I'm not sure how I feel about the characters yet. So the book is told from the perspective of a woman called Lucy, who works for this publishing company. So basically there used to be these two publishing houses, however they went through a merger, and Lucy is the assistant to one of the CEOs, and she works with this guy Josh, who's the assistant to the other CEO. And Lucy and Josh hate each other. They do not get along. And at the start of the book, they learn that a new role is being created in the company. And so if one of them gets this role, it would mean a promotion, but also they would become the boss of the other person. Lucy and Josh are complete opposites of each other. So Lucy is a bit of a people pleaser, whereas Josh is not, and he's quite sarcastic and more stern. And there was a point near the start of the book where Josh turns to Lucy and says that she needs to stop being such a pushover, because people are just going to continue to walk all over her. And I agree with him, to be fair. I really hope that she does go through a little bit of character development, because otherwise I think I am going to start to find her a bit annoying. Otherwise though, like I said, I am enjoying the humour, and I am finding it really easy to read. It's been quite quick to get into, and I like the writing. I don't know if I've said that already. So excited to continue reading. This is one of those books where the further that I get into it, the more I understand why it's so hyped, because there's something so addictive about it. I was reading last night and it got to around midnight, and I could see that I was around 60% of the way through, and I really struggled to put the book down. I didn't want to be awake until until gone 1 o'clock in the morning finishing it. So I told myself, no, you need to take a break, you can finish it tomorrow. But yeah, there's something about this book and I can't quite put my finger on it. I don't think that this is going to be a new favourite, because as much as I am enjoying the writing and I like the chemistry and the banter between the characters, they have this really great sexual tension and I like the smut scenes so far. I would say that it's a slower burn, but that's not a bad thing because I prefer that over insta-love. However, what I'm struggling with is that I just don't like the characters' personalities. I'm finding it a little bit frustrating that we're only getting one side of things, so we're only getting Lucy's point of view. I think that just for me personally, I would be enjoying this book a lot more if we did get Josh's point of view as well, because there's not been miscommunication that I can tell so far, but there has been a lack of communication, and there also hasn't been much explanation behind why the characters are so bad at communicating. Also, I'm finding it a little bit repetitive how there's a certain characteristic of one of the characters that keeps being mentioned over and over again, and I get it now. And I'm not going to say what it is because obviously if you haven't read this book yet, then I don't want to say it and then have you be like noticing it as you're going into the book. This book does have one of my favourite tropes though, where one character is sick and the other character has to care for them. I would say that I think that I've read this trope in other books and it's been done better, but it was cute. I enjoyed that. Good morning. So I finished reading The Hating Game last night and I think I'm going to settle on 3 stars, but a high 3 stars. I think it was almost a 4 stars, but something happened towards the end of this book that made me really not like Josh as a love interest. And that's the thing about romance, is that if I don't care about the main characters getting together, then like it got to the end of this book and I felt kind of indifferent and I didn't want that feeling. I wanted to feel warm inside and I wanted to feel happy, and I just, yeah, I think I touched on this earlier, but something that really irritates me and that I find really frustrating in books is where a main character or one of the characters deliberately doesn't share something and where they're just generally bad at communicating, and I ended up feeling that way about this book. So yeah, 3 stars, maybe more like a 3.5 or a 3.25 if we're being really specific. But I would still recommend it. I did still have a good time reading it, and actually when I think back on it, there were some really funny moments in this book that I did really like. It just, I think that the characters' personalities didn't quite click with me, and so I found it really hard to warm to them in the end. I have also made a start on my next book for this reading vlog, which I think I mentioned I was going to be picking this up, but I've started listening to Hang the Moon by Alexandria Bellfleur and I am loving this so far. It's so cute, and when I'm listening to it, it puts a huge smile on my face, which obviously I really love. I don't think I explained what this book is about, but we're basically following a main character called Annie who travels to Seattle at the very start of the book to visit her best friend Darcy. However, the trip was meant to be a surprise, and when she arrives, she learns that Darcy's not actually in town, she's on vacation, and so Annie ends up hanging out with Darcy's brother Brendan. Annie and Brendan have known each other for a long time because Annie and Darcy were childhood best friends. Annie has never really seen him as more than Darcy's younger brother, whereas Brendan used to have a crush on Annie because she was his big sister's cool friend, and it's just so cute. Like, the book is basically about Brendan showing Annie around Seattle because obviously she's waiting for Darcy to come home. They're kind of opposites because whereas Brendan runs a dating app and he's a true romantic, Annie is a lot more cynical, and so Brendan is on this sort of mission to convince Annie that love isn't dead and that romance is very much still alive. I'm around 27% of the way through. I've got about 7 hours left on the audiobook, which I'm listening on 1.5 speed, so I should be able to finish that in another couple of days, I reckon, but it's just so cute. And I know that I've used that word over and over again when talking about this book, but it's just adorable, and I can't wait to carry on listening to it because it's just so cute. I'm going to try and keep this update kind of quick because I'm now about 60% of the way through Hang the Moon, and my general feelings on this book haven't really changed since I last updated you. It's just a really simple and sweet romance. I really like the characters, and that is something actually that I did want to say, is that the characters in this are so likeable. You do get both perspectives, so you see how Brendan is just so soft-hearted and he's just so sweet, but then in contrast you have Annie, who is also really lovely, but she's been hurt and let down in her past, and that feels very realistic because it hasn't made her mean, which I think is something that you come across in this type of situation where a character has been let down in their past and it's made them very jaded. But I'm not getting that feeling from Annie because you can just see how much they like each other. And even though typically I always say that my favourite romance trope is hate to love, whereas this is more friends to lovers, or it's more like best friends brother to lovers. I think if you like romance books that have a lot of tension and banter between characters, then I would say that that's not what this book is. It is more just, yeah, like a sweet story about two people who clearly like each other, but there are very realistic obstacles that they have to overcome to get together. And the only thing I will say isn't a criticism, it's more of a personal preference, but because I'm listening to the audiobook for this, I think that I would prefer it if it were in first person POV rather than third person. But that's just because listening to an audiobook, I do tend to prefer first person. I think if I were reading this physically, then that wouldn't bother me.
Hi everyone, and happy Friday. I never film in my spare room, so I don't know how echoey this is going to be or if this light is going to work, but I have just finished Hang the Moon by Alexandria Bellfleur, and I think I'm going to give it 4 stars. It was almost a 5 stars, but especially towards the end, I started to feel like it was dragging a little bit, and it started to feel a bit too sickly sweet. I like a little bit cheese in my romance, but I feel like, especially towards the end and in the epilogue, it went a little bit too far for my personal taste. I think I need to just clarify the general tone of this book, because I feel like all I've done so far is say that it's cute and it's adorable and it's sweet, but it's also an adult romance. I was listening to it yesterday while I was in a coffee shop, and I had to put it on pause because there was an old man in front of me ordering his cup of tea, and I just felt a little bit awkward listening to it in public. I think I actually preferred this one to the first book, and I know that there's a third book coming out next year, which I'm also really excited about. Might try and read that one physically actually, because I've listened to the first 2 books on audio, and so it would be interesting to see whether my opinion changes if I'm reading a physical copy. I have also made a start on my 3rd book for this reading vlog, which is, spoiler alert, by Olivia Dade. So this is again an adult romance, and it's about 2 fan fiction writers. So the male love interest is this guy called Marcus, who's a famous actor in this TV show that feels a little bit like Game of Thrones. Then the other main character is a woman whose name I can't remember. Okay, so her name is April, and she writes fan fiction about this show because she's a huge fan. And at the very start of the book, the official Twitter account for this show puts out a request for fans to send in photos of them cosplaying the characters, and so April sends in a photo of herself, and she gets a lot of negative comments and a lot of fatphobic comments, and Marcus sees these comments and he replies to her and says, hey, if you're in the area, do you fancy going out for a drink? And so they start chatting over DMs, and he takes her out. What she doesn't know is that he is also a fan fiction writer, but he obviously publishes under an alias because he doesn't want people to know that he writes fan fiction about his own show, because I guess that would be quite weird. I'm really liking it so far. I really like that the main characters are both older, so I think that April is 36 and Marcus is 38 or 39, something like that, but already I can see that the 2 main characters do have a lot of good chemistry, and so I'm only about 20% of the way through so far, but I'm excited to see how it continues. I'm a little bit nervous that there's going to be miscommunication. Is that the right word? Marcus knows that she's a fan fiction writer, and he knows that they've actually been talking through this forum for the past few years, but she doesn't know that about him. so I don't know how that's going to play into the plot and whether it's going to be something that I like or whether it's something that I'm going to have an issue with. So I'm now about 45% of the way through, and yeah, I'm not even halfway through, and already I have nearly cried twice reading this book, which... yeah, I wasn't expecting. Initially, I was a little bit nervous about the situation in this book because when Marcus asks April to go on their first date, he doesn't know who she is, but then he does learn that she's this girl that he's been talking to for the past few years, and he doesn't say anything, and it felt a little bit icky initially. However, I do think that the way that it's being handled, I can understand why the characters are acting in a certain way, and so I'm still a little bit nervous about the direction that this book is going to go in, but I'm not hating that aspect as much as I was worried that I would. One of the main characters in this book is dyslexic, and I can't speak on how accurate the representation is, but I do like how the characters in this feel very realistic and their emotions feel very realistic. I think that of the books that I've read so far this week, the characters in this feel the most well developed and the most complex, and so I have really, really high hopes that this is going to be a 5 stars. I don't know if I'm going to do another update before I finish this because it's Friday night now, so I'm going to settle down and finish this tonight, and then I'm going to hopefully try and read another book over the weekend. I have an idea of the book that I want to read, but I will let you know once I've 100% decided. Good morning, it is now Saturday and I am not having a good day. I don't know if I mentioned actually, but yesterday I had my flu jab and also my 3rd vaccine, like my booster vaccine. So I already wasn't feeling great last night before I went to bed. And then my neighbours decided to set off fireworks at 6 o'clock this morning, which, why would anyone think that that was a good idea? I don't know. But I did end up finishing Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade, and this was a 5 stars. I loved this book. The steamy scenes were 10 out of 10. And you know what's really, really sexy is when 2 characters act like adults and they talk through their issues and they share their insecurities. Like, this book was amazing, one of my new favourite romances. I will say that the fanfiction elements went a little over my head because I don't know anything about fanfiction, but I enjoyed learning about it through this book. And I'm pretty sure that a companion novel has just come out, which I would also be interested in reading. So yeah, 5 stars, which... really, really happy about. I have also made a start on my 4th and final book for this reading vlog, which is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, and I have heard so many people talking about this book recently. I was watching Abby's wrap up earlier this week and she only had positive things to say about this book, and so I thought, you know what, it's a mood reading week and I am in the mood to read The Love Hypothesis, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm only about 10% of the way through, so I don't have a lot to say about it yet, but already I really like the main character. I really like the tropes in this book. So the main trope, I guess, is that it's a fake dating situation. The main character, Olive, works in STEM and her best friend really wants to date this guy that Olive used to date. However, she's not going to go there because girl code and all of that. So Olive starts fake dating this guy in their department so that it will persuade her friend to pursue this guy that Olive used to date. Does that make sense? I don't know if I've done a very good job of explaining that, but yeah, like I might have said, 10% of the way through and enjoying it so far. I think I'm literally just going to stay in bed all day and read this book because I just need the escapism today. It's just, yeah, it's not been a good day so far, but I think I am going to go around to my mum's this evening and hopefully I will update you though before then. So it's now a few hours later. I have moved from this spot, but not very far, I'm not gonna lie. I am now about 37% of the way through The Love Hypothesis, and I get it. I get why this book has been so hyped recently because it is really cute. I'm really enjoying it. I like the 2 main characters and also the side characters actually. I feel like there's a lot of different characters in this book, but
Olive, the main character, is a biology graduate student, and the love interest, Adam, is a professor in the same department, but he's not her professor, so they're not involved professionally. Adam is known within the department for being a bit grumpy and being quite arrogant, and not many people like him, but Olive is the complete opposite. So is it Grumpy Sunshine, the name of the trope? It's that sort of trope, and I love that. Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm just doing a really bad job of expressing my feelings on this book because I like it, but I can't really vocalise why I'm enjoying it so much other than it's just really well written. I really like the dynamics between the characters. I like the romance, but also I like the plot that's outside of the romance. So the characters all work within STEM, and the setting and just all of the non-romance plot that's going on I find really, really interesting. So something that I don't think I've heard any other reviews mention is that Olive's area of focus is cancer research, and I really, really like that. I find that really, really interesting. There's also been a few really funny moments where the characters are bantering back and forth. So the one that I wrote down was the scene where Olive is asking Adam what his favourite colour is, and just the interactions, like, it's just, yeah, this so far has been great. It's exactly what I want to be reading at the moment when I'm feeling a little bit rubbish. So hey everyone, so I finished reading The Love Hypothesis last night, and this was almost a 5 stars. I think I am going to give it 5 stars on Goodreads, but it's more like a 4.5, and that's because there was something in the second half that started to really, really annoy me, and that's the way the main character had these insecurities. And I don't mind that. Like, I understand that people do genuinely have insecurities, so it wasn't that particularly that was bothering me, but there was one point where she made this really random assumption about something, and it kept coming up over and over again, and I just couldn't help but think, how have you come to this conclusion? It doesn't make any sense. And so I found that really, really frustrating, but I did still generally enjoy the story, and I definitely see why it's been so hyped recently. So yeah, 4.5 stars. I think that if I had to rank all the books that I've read this week, in first place would still be, spoiler alert, and then The Love Hypothesis would be in second, and then third would be Hang the Moon, and then The Hating Game at the bottom. I did still generally enjoy all the books that I read this week, so I would recommend all of them. I don't feel like I have anything else to say, so I'm gonna end the reading vlog here. Thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, let me know in the comments if you have any recommendations for books based on the books that I've read this week. I realised that 2 of the books that I read, so spoiler alert and The Love Hypothesis, both have links to fan fiction, so maybe I need to start reading fan fiction. I don't know, but yeah, thanks again, and if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and click subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Bye.